All right, hi everyone. I'm Lola. I'm with Group 2 and we are the Madus Collective. I'm here with my group mates, Cyrus and Michelle, who you'll be hearing from later on, and Joshi, who is going to be controlling our slides, as well as our other amazing group members, Caitlin, Ellen, and Roberto, who helped put together this great project for you. So the first topic I want to get into is, Joshi, good. So who is Madus? Looking at your strengths, we see a lot of authenticity as well as high visual artistry and everything from your personal style to the images that come across in your music videos. Now, there are some things that are not strengths and we could improve on, and that is money and awareness. So we don't have a big budget backing us right now, and there's a whole group of people out there that aren't even aware that Madus exists. So we want to expose Madus to the world.
After doing some digging, we found three major opportunities. Revival of vintage is a major one with the growth in vinyl sales, vintage clothing, and vintage cars. And the second opportunity is sync licensing in streaming sites like Netflix, Hulu, because there's so much content being put out all the time. And the third opportunity, which is one that we picked, has the biggest potential, which is the experience economy. It basically means that experiences is its own category, just like products and services, and that it puts customer service as the #1 determining factor. With all that being said, the biggest threat that you're facing right now is that rock is no longer the most popular genre on the radio. Right now, it's hip hop claiming 26.9% of the total consumption. So now then the real question is, how can we make rock the mainstream popular culture again?
Okay, so when it comes to the fans, we found that a lot of them reside in the US as well as Mexico. And within the US, they're typically on the West Coast in cities such as Seattle, Las Vegas, and throughout California. They're also, a lot of the fans are white, male, and between the ages of 16 and 34. And of course, within that age group, you have both Gen Zs and millennials. But we really want to focus in on a group of people who aren't just going to consume and interact with Madus, but somebody who also has a high purchasing power. And that's most likely going to be the millennials.
Now that we know their demographics, we want to know also their lifestyle and personality. Your fans experience FOMO every time they go on social media, which basically means that when you see a fun event that you're not there, you're getting anxious about it because you crave the attention of how many likes you get on social media and that you're missing out on this fun event and all these fun people to be with. It's also no surprise that millennials appreciate art and that they tend to appreciate art more than previous generations. This is because young people are all about being different, having their own personal opinions and styles, and that is when they look towards art to create this connection. Lastly, millennials want people to be, Millennials want people to be real with them. So instead of being perfect in package, we're looking for people being organic and real. So then authenticity really matters in this case.
Okay, so when it comes to marketing, there are quite literally hundreds of strategies that you can go with, but there are three main ones and I wanted to outline them for you really quickly. So the first one is product development. Very simply put, it's taking a new product and putting it into a new market. So we don't really think that this is necessary because we like Madus how they are. We think that they're great and we just need something a little bit different. So with the second one, that's market penetration, we have our current product, which is Madus, and a current market. The issue with this though is that Madus is in a market that is a bit big and oversaturated with veterans of the industry, maybe with bands such as Franz Ferdinand or Interpol and the Strokes. So the third one that we have is market development, and this is taking your current product and putting it into a new market. And with this one, you're basically going to be able to hit new market segments, new geographic areas, and then you're also going to be able to take Madus and repackage and price them as a brand. Next one. Okay, so with all that said and done, where should we actually go with Madus? Now, we mentioned in our opportunities the experience economy, and the reason why we went with this one, This is really important. First of all, it's actually valued right now at 12 billion and it's growing. And then if you get specifically into the immersive entertainment industry, we have it at 4.5 billion and still growing. And this is a market that is not overly saturated by specifically rock and roll and indie rock. They also have some studies that found if you take consumers and you put them into brand activated experiences, it'll actually increase your sales. There are several other reasons why we went with this. For example, some of the biggest cities that these immersive companies take place in and where these events take place is in Los Angeles, which is the home of Madus. There also is the factor that you want somebody who needs Madus as much as Madus needs them. So if we look at some of the problems that these companies are having, we see marketing and high production costs. So this is going to be a lot of work for Madus, but there's some perks. Hold on. You will have to work for free and do some things pro bono, but that's solving the issues of their, that's solving the problem that they're having. So with high production cost and with your high artistry, your visual artistry, you're going to be solving a lot of problems that they're having with their marketing.
So right now, like Lola said, Madus is in a competitive market, and we should be probably looking towards another market. This is because a lot of rock bands have similar sounds and style, like their DIY mentality as well, which Madus also have. But how can you compete with someone like the Strokes or Interpol when they have major labels supporting them with a huge budget? So now we're going to present you with a solution that we found, and I'm going to show you a repositioning map. Next slide. So we want to put it out there first that we're not looking to change your music. We just want you to tap into a different market so that you're being marketed to a market that is not saturated yet because it's still growing. After this repositioning, the buying behavior of your fans will be early adopters and innovators, like you can see here on the graph, which that just means that they are people who jump on the latest trends right away. And these people tend to be millennials, and your fans and indie rock fans are millennials. The repositioning will change your vintage attribute, and instead we will focus on high experience and low experience, which means that you will be focusing on creating an experience that actually makes an impact on people's lives. And now Cyrus will go more into detail of what we have planned for you.
Hey guys, how are you? Good to, I'm not seeing you, but good to see you. So we've developed a plan for you. It's a 3-year plan, but before we go into that, you're gonna hear this, you heard it from the first group, you're gonna hear it from us, you're gonna hear it from everybody. The one thing you guys need to understand is a lot of hard work, and I think you do by now. Now, the other thing that we in our group want you to understand very well is this. The market in which you are right now, the world in which Madus lives right now, it's very, very, very saturated. It is, like, we see it. I'm a rocker myself. I have rock and roll bands. I know exactly how it is to try to go out and play and then just find this wall, right? So the reason we're presenting this opportunity to you, immersive art, you're gonna hear words like immersive art, experience design, interactive art. The reason we're presenting this is because it's a new avenue to reach the goals that you are trying to achieve. And once again, Madus is Madus. Madus is bringing rock and roll to this new field, to this community. Here's the thing, in the immersive art world, we haven't seen yet rock and roll take over. We see a lot of psychedelic stuff. I'm sure you can visualize this, right? All this immersive art out there with lots of colors. We see a lot of EDM, electronic music, but we haven't seen rock and roll make a stand. This is an amazing opportunity for Madus. This world is extremely accessible as of right now, and then it needs the rock and roll because it's gonna want to have all the genres coming into it. So let's go to the plan. Year one, okay, the objective for year one here is to create the brand image, right? And become part of this community. The goals we have for you, they're very simple. You're gonna grow the Madus collective, right? You're gonna grow with this community. You're gonna be entering, be part of it, create connections, create content, create a resume in which you can, by the end of the year, say, we are part of this world. Let's work with higher people, with bigger people, right? The money this year and possibly for the first year and a half, it might not be common because this is when you need to work pro bono and working for free. So where do we start? This all sounds so good, but where do we start, right? Let's go to the next slide. We have resources. You guys, okay, 505, you're listening. This goes for you guys too. You guys were able to bring Madus onto our marketing class, right, as a client. So CSUN has tons of resources. CSUN has the multimedia production program, which is part of the My Curve. We're giving you, you're gonna see throughout this presentation, phone numbers, emails, for this plan for you to execute, right? So for example, here, Professor Elizabeth Laser, right? She has a class, end of the year, her students need to put projects that many times are directly related to immersive art. Immersive art, interactive art, it needs music. Madus has music, and Madus has a rock and roll image that is gonna align with some of these people, and you're gonna all grow together. Let's go to the next slide. More resources, your local artists. Here, this guy Foraus, like, explore him a little bit. We're giving you the handle, the Instagram handle, and even the phone number to contact with this person. What these people are doing is amazing. This person in particular is working in big projects, but at the same time, you see he's putting these little experiments, and he puts music to these videos that he's doing. Like, why not Madus? Why not Madus being there? This community is so accessible. It's like reaching out to these people that 10 years from now are gonna be famous, huge, and rich, and Madus needs to be there with them. Madus has the opportunity to bring rock and roll into all of this, right? Another thing I wanted to say about this artist, he and many like him are a rabbit hole for information. You need to like dive in, like just go to one of his videos, posts, whichever you choose to go for. We gave you the handle for Instagram. He's gonna explain to you exactly what technology he's used, what software, like get yourselves around this. You know, you need to be part of this community. Let's go to the next slide. All right, another resource here. This is a professor at UCLA. It's a digital concept art coder. 505, you're gonna use your resources. You used your resources to reach to Professor Vigneron, all right? You're gonna use your resources to connect Madus to Elizabeth Laser. There's more academia that you can reach out to. This is one of your resources. Don't forget, it's immediate to you, right? You're gonna expand. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And year 2. I'm sorry, I'm speaking really fast. A lot of information we wanna give you. Once we get to year 2, you guys will have a good amount of content, right? Basically a resume, a presentation card. You can come up to anybody and be like, we're part of this immersive art community. Our approach is rock and roll. We provide music, and we have this whole network of people that we work with. One thing I want to say, Madus needs to be pretty much spearheading all this movement, you know, because there's just nobody really out there spearheading the rock and roll and the immersive art. Now, the objective for year 2, increase your brand awareness. You develop it, increase it. And now you're gonna be a recognizable player in this field. The goals we have for you are keep on doing what you're doing on year 1, but now we want you, Madus, to spearhead a couple shows, a couple interactive shows. You need to put this together. You have now a bunch of people around you, a lot of resources. You can put this together. And here the money can come, you know. First show, perhaps it won't be as easy to make money, but maybe donations, right? But by the second show, once you've proven like, oh, wow, you're just not playing on stage in a one-dimensional way to people. You're playing, there's immersive art, there's fashion brands going around, there's all these things happening. You're proving a lot to the community in this way. How can you do this? Okay, let's go to the next slide. For example, so for your party, let's do a party that has a lingerie fashion walkthrough, right? In which the models have been painted by some of the local body painting artists, and then there's the 2 artists projecting their art on these models through the immersive art technology that now you have access to because you've been developing on year 1, right? Let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is just one of the examples that you can do, right? Body painters, come out to a body painter. Hey, let's do a hybrid thing here. We have this technology, design something. We're gonna project into your model. Let's bring the fashion lingerie. Let's put the lingerie in the models. Madus displaying in the background. There's all sorts of artists. There's all sorts of immersive art. And this is way more than just doing the saturated way of I'm on stage playing and then there's 30 people, perhaps 10 people, perhaps 100, but old-fashioned style, right? Let's go for more. These are people that you can reach out, right? This is an example, Tangwar. This guy is very accessible. He's local. He works in a lot of interactive shows that have a lot of music. Start with people like him. Again, the rabbit hole mentality. Follow, find one, find five. Keep on reaching out, keep on reaching out. Let's go to the next slide. Lingerie brands. These are local lingerie brands. Easy to reach out, so accessible. They're gonna want to say, yes, of course I wanna be part of a party like this because you guys have leverage to show. More lingerie brands. There's so many out there. These are just example. Again, rabbit hole. Follow this path. Next slide. Party number 2. Reach out to bigger artists. Like over here we have. Sorry, my screen is acting out. Alex Hansen here. This is a bigger artist. Works with models that are portrayed in bigger stages in festivals. Right. Let's go to the next slide. Paul Rostan. This is one of the big top body painters in LA. If you're coming up to a guy like him and you tell him like, look, we put this party together 4 months ago, and then there were body painters, there were models, it was community based, it was a collective effort, everybody's growing. People like this are gonna say, yes, I'm in. This guy, another thing you can do with people like this, you go into their websites, you go into their Instagram, they're constantly featuring music. Like, why not Madus? If you're a player in their industry, if you're a player in their world, they're gonna say yes to your music before they say yes to any music they can find on the internet from a library that is across the world and is very generic. All right, let's go to next slide. Year 3, guys, this is the easy year. I'm measuring my time here. Year 3, let's just basically go bigger, replicate, grow. At this point in year 3, you need to solidify who you are. If you've done this well, if you've grown with this community all together, if you've shown that you're part of this community, Madus is recognized by the local artists, like, yeah, of course, they're part of this boiling immersive art community. Now you have leverage to come up to the big companies. And tell you what, these companies, you just have to do a quick search. These companies are constantly looking to collaborate with people like that, people that come from collective mentality, right? The goals, obviously, work with these companies, and the money comes here in deals. This is when you're gonna be making money. Here, let me show you some of these companies. Meow Wolf, right? This company, it's from New Mexico. I reached out to them. It was so easy. So they answer it within a couple hours in Instagram. And let me tell you something about them. Within the last 2 years, they just got an investment of $120 million. Why not have a chunk of that? Prove to them. And I asked them, like, when are you guys coming to LA? And they told us when the time is right. They have shows in Chicago, New Mexico, New York. It's amazing. Once they get to LA, you guys need to be ready for these people, because if you show them like, hey, we're just like you, they're gonna say yes. Let's go for more companies. And now, this is something I wanna tie it together for you guys. We chose this company among others just as a way to exemplify something. You guys have the dream to be looking eye to eye to the Strokes, to Queens of the Stone Age. By your music, I personally think you're already looking at them eye to eye, but you need to grow and be like them. We're giving you a different avenue. And why does this company matter? This company did the experience design for Call Jam, and probably you know Call Jam was the Foo Fighters festival that just happened. I think it was a year and a half ago. So think of it this way: if you're at a level in which you're looking eye to eye to companies like this with your collective, with what you're doing, there's nothing to stop you to be in the same leagues like the Foo Fighters, like the Strokes, Queens of the Stone Age, all the bands that you are like definitely in alignment with. Let's go to the next slide. More companies here, just to show you some examples. Novaham Productions, they do the music, immersive interactive music stages for Coachella, Burning Man, the Roxy. The Roxy is around the corner. You guys need to play at the Roxy, but let's play at the Roxy through this avenue. Let's make an impact. not just play at the Roxy and expect to play at the next place in this saturated environment in which they will ask you for pay to play and all that stuff. Like, this makes no sense. And once again, I want to hammer this. They are extremely accessible. Anyways, we go to the next slide. Timeline again for you to see. Let's go to the next slide. I think we're just out of time. These are some names, Instagram handles, just some information for you to remember the rabbit hole mentality. Bruce Bond, he's a Dreamscape, the CEO of Dreamscape, one of the biggest immersive art companies based here in LA. Is a message away on LinkedIn. It's just right there. All these companies, all these hashtags you can follow, like, become part of this community. And then with that being said, this is the Madus Collective that we present to you. Thank you for listening, guys.